Good morning, people.
Good morning. Hi,
Elena.
Lucy.
Hey,
Good
Lucy.
morning, Elena. Good morning, Tony.
Hi, Tony.
Lucy, didn't I just have a conversation with you somewhere about some kind of crazy design thing?
I feel like we were just chatting about stuff. Yes, Tony.
Good to see you folks. How were your weekends?
It was good. How was yours?
It was spent designing postcards, as you saw.
Favorite thing to do?
No, but necessary might be a better word, Elena.
Tony, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. Outsource.
Oh, yeah, I got you. I have fun. I have fun doing it. What I wanted to do was utilize the postcard mailing function in Command. So this is kind of a trial run to do that. So a little bit of a joke, and Lucy knows the joke. I started the design, the draft in Designs, and designed it, and discovered there isn't a really nice link directly between Designs and Campaigns. So I had to reconstruct it in Campaigns.
Oh, wow. Well, so am I to expect you to teach the class about that soon?
That depends on whether I survive it or not. If I can get the postcard out and I'm still alive, perhaps.
Okay, sounds like fun.
It is.
Maybe a live demonstration, Tony. That would be good.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy. I'm an amateur photographer too, so it makes it easy for me. So I'm accustomed to
okay, so you got the skills. So okay.
Yeah, it's an easy thing for me to do. I got you with the outsourcing. When I get to that, when I get that net $1 million, that frame of mind.
No,
yeah,
you will never net $1 million if you do everything yourself.
That's what I'm saying. When I get in that proper frame of mind, it'll be outsourcing the world. So I might put my.
Yeah, we're trying to go live on Facebook and then also just save this somewhere so we'll have it forever. It's going to be quality content.
Hold on 1 second.
Yes, ma'am. You let me know when you're ready. And then Elena, if there's any questions in the chat, usually Melody will let you know.
Okay. Okay.
So
yeah, I'll try to navigate all of that at once, but I can't promise you that I will succeed.
We can take that off your hands.
Thank you. Thank you, Lucy. And Melody.
All right, we're ready, Lucy.
All right. Well, you guys, we have a special treat for you today. Elena Corbett.
Hold on.
Oh, start.
I know. Just kidding. Oh, it does say it's streaming live, Mel.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we're ready now.
We have a super special treat. Elena Corbett, one of our amazing agents here, is going to teach us today some amazing things. And she is an awesome person, tells amazing stories. Get to know her. She has a beautiful heart of gold. And we are just so thankful for you to be sharing your expertise with us today. So take it away, Miss Elena.
Thank you so much, Lucy. What an introduction. I hope I live up to that. Hey, everybody. So let's talk a little bit about working with buyers. I don't normally do a slide presentation with my buyers. However, I have done a lot of buyers presentations live via Skype and now Zoom, and even sometimes on Facebook Messenger, where you can go into a video call. And the reason I did that in years past was because I was working a lot of relocations. In 2006, I was a part of a team of 11 agents, and I was the lead buyer's agent on that team. And that's where I learned how to really work with out-of-town buyers. Which is important because there's always time constraints on that. So everything I do with my buyers now is based on that experience. And it flows quite seamlessly into today's situation where we try to limit contact with our buyers and with people in general. So without any further ado, I am going to show you a few slides that we created, and thank you, Tony Corbett, for helping me with that. We've had quite some time doing that. Anyways, so I am, how do I share my screen?
At the bottom, click on share screen. It's like green.
Okay, guys, sorry. Oh yeah, there I am. Okay, awesomeness. Okay. So I am going to go straight into my presentation. But before we go there, I wanted to tell you that it's super important before you have that buyer presentation with your buyers is to pre-qualify them. So I usually go into some pre-qualifications during our initial phone conversation. And the great form for that is in your Ignite book. If you don't have your Ignite book, I'm happy to share, but basically we ask several questions about the buyers, whether they're married, is there a family, are they a first-time buyer, moving up, moving down, And during that pre-qualification, which takes about 10-15 minutes on the phone, we determine at least approximately what is their DISC profile. That's important because when you speak with them live, whether it's in the office, face-to-face, or on a Zoom meeting, it will help you navigate and avoid some of the pitfalls. So let's just assume that pre-qualification is in front of me and we already talked about it, and now we're just having our live meeting. So Mr. Buyer, let's find you in your new home. Let me tell you a little bit about me. As you know, my name is Elena Corbett. My office is based in Roswell, Georgia. However, I had worked in all of the counties of Atlanta. And majority of my business is in north parts of Atlanta, which is Roswell, Alpharetta, all the way to Cumming and Gainesville. I have two grown children, 35 and 26. I am a recovering computer engineer, love crafting, gardening, remodeling, and building homes. I'm very passionate about building wealth through real estate. And as of recent, I am also an owner and founder of South Star Realtors, a dynamic team of 3 agents. Let me tell you a little bit about my business. In 1985, I graduated with a computer science degree from a Chisinau Institute of Technology in a small country called Moldova. In 1990, my family and I came to the US as political refugees. And not even a year later, I decided to purchase my very first home. And it's important for me to tell that story because a lot of my business is based on that experience. In 1995, I became a first Russian-speaking loan officer in Atlanta. And at that time, I was serving my community, people from former Soviet Union that spoke Russian, as a loan officer. There was no other person that did that. Now, of course, in our ever-expanding city, and the Russian community has gotten so big, there are literally hundreds and hundreds of loan officers and agents that speak Russian, which is great. And some of my clients became agents and loan officers. So that's even better. In 2004, I received my real estate license, and in 2003, I became a broker. That was important to me because I value education. Here is how all of this flows into my business. Working with buyers, I discovered that lots of agents will show you properties that don't really meet your needs. They will try to upsell you into higher priced properties, maybe preview a few homes, mostly waiting for you to find the home yourself. And they will never communicate with you in the process. Is this something that you want to experience in your home buying process? I would say probably not. Because eventually, if things are like that, you will both become frustrated and you will lose interest in purchasing a home, letting go of your dream for that perfect future. I have a much more professional and proactive approach. My process is unique. What really sets me apart from other agents is my unique system for finding you the best home for you, while saving you time and avoiding the usual hassles. The average time my clients and I spend together looking for homes is only 3 days. National average is 130. Think about that. It is not unusual for my clients to purchase the very first home I show them. And I usually take a pause after I say that because most of my potential clients laugh in disbelief and they say that is not even possible. Okay, let me show you how it's done. You see, in this market where we have such a shortage of available properties and the best ones sell within days and with multiple offers, time is not on my buyer's side. So as your agent, I have to make absolutely sure that we don't waste your time looking at possibilities. We establish very precise criteria and find the one or 3, 5 maximum homes that meet all of your needs as closely as possible. And then I will show you the best one first. And usually I pick the best one for you. If we all agree after we look at that home that it is the one, we would cancel the remaining appointments for the day and submit our offer to the seller immediately. If the first one isn't perfect, no worries. We will look at the second and third until we're done. Of course, occasionally, none of the homes we see in the first 2 or 3 days would make you feel great about buying them. That usually means one or two things. Either you were not truthful about your needs and wants for the house, or, which happens much more often, you're trying to purchase a home way below your budget. The market is simply telling us that it is not possible to buy a Ferrari at the same price as Honda Accord. Not that there is anything wrong with Honda Accord. Once we discover that that is the case, we will make adjustments in your search criteria and our 3-day time starts over. Do you have any questions about that?
Hump. Speed hump.
Okay, y'all. Questions? Let's assume you're a buyer. What would you say?
I'd ask, what kind of adjustments do you anticipate making in a search? If that is the case, if we go through and we just don't see what we're looking for, what kind of adjustments do you actually think that we'll be able to make our search criteria?
Normally, that if the budget is an issue, and I've had that happen time and time again, when people would tell me, "Oh, we want to buy a house for $350,000," but then all of their criteria would lead me to believe that they're really looking at 500.
I see.
I would still show them those $350,000 homes
Right.
because I need to get it out of their system. And you know, and if we find something that's great, awesome. I am all about doing things under budget. But if we don't, then I you know, we have this come to Jesus conversation, and they come through to me and they say, yep, we lied. We are qualified up to 500,000. We just were trying to see if we could find something for 350 or even 4. So then when we adjust the price, and sometimes we adjust the location. Some people think they want to live in Cumming. We go to Cumming and they don't like it.
Elena, do you have an idea in your mind as an agent how many houses you show them up front? Say you start with the $350,000 criterion, and you show them 5 houses, and they're not seeing anything. You show them 5 more, they're not seeing anything. At what point in your experience do you say, okay, now is the time to have that come to Jesus meeting? How many homes do you show them before you get to that point?
So we usually schedule 3 days worth of showings all at once. And now I will tell you, I can show 20 homes in one day. I don't choose to do that because after about 5, everybody is starting to get tired. And in today's market, we just don't have the luxury of having that much inventory. So what we do is we spend a lot of time together looking at listings online.
Right.
And when we actually go looking, it's a very narrow search. I literally, lately, I limit them to 1 day. You know, it's hot, it's uncomfortable, we have to wear masks, like nobody likes it right now. And the sellers aren't super, you know, happy about people coming in and out of their home. So when we go for the kill. We just go to look at those, you know, 3 to 5 homes. And if they aren't right, and we've seen everything online already, we're going to modify their criteria one way or another. It's just mandatory. Now, I will tell you that approach is very aggressive for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And some people will be turned away, and that's okay. You know, you can choose, and I have chosen to work with people on their own terms. It's painful. I don't like it. They end up not liking it, but it is what it is. Here, I'm describing the ideal scenario, which has been very successful for people who are relocating to Atlanta, and they have those 3 days to find the home. That's it. They're coming here, that, you know, they're flying in on Friday morning. By Sunday, they need to be under contract because they're flying back to wherever they're from. And this system works for that. Okay? Any other questions? All right. So once we talk about my system on how we're going to be searching for this house, this is when we start going over the actual process. And we discuss the agency relationship. I usually tell the story about how I purchased my own home. And yours may be different, but this is mine. So in 1990, after about 3 days in a car with the person that I thought was my agent, she handed me a piece of paper to sign that said that, in fact, she was representing the seller in that transaction, which left me very confused. I asked her, I said, how come, you know, I'm telling you everything about myself, my family, my finances, my dreams, my desires, but you're working for another person. How come you don't work for me? And she explained me that at that time, that was the only way a buyer's agent could get paid. The buyer's agent was a sub-agent of the listing agent, and that's the only way they could receive their commission. And it left me very uncomfortable throughout the entire transaction. I felt that my trust was violated. I felt that my interests were not protected. And apparently, a lot of people felt the same way because in 1994, a thing called buyer's agency appeared. So now 100% of the buyers that I work with signed the buyer's brokerage agreement. You may ask me why. I want to make sure, Mr. Buyer, that I represent your interests in this transaction. Now, I can get paid without doing that and just simply do the clerical labor and write the contract and present it to the listing agent and, leave it at that. And I've had people that chose for me to do that. Unfortunately, that doesn't allow me to do my best work for you. It does not allow me to negotiate on your behalf. I am simply a clerical person filling out paperwork. Is that what you want me to do? Of course, 100% of the people will say no. We want to be represented. We want you to protect our interest in this transaction. So this is where we review the buyer's brokerage and we get it signed, okay? Now, before we even have our meeting, everybody has to get pre-approved. So we already talked about mortgage people. I already forwarded several contacts in the mortgage business that I prefer for them to use. I also allow them to have their own contacts. If they already have a relationship with the mortgage person, that's great. But I do encourage all of my potential clients to shop around for the best option. And I will give them a list of my people that are tried and true. I have established relationship with those people. Kathy Vitale, of course, is one of them. And then I have several other loan officers. The biggest goal behind that is to speed up the process. When we do decide to write a contract, I explain to my buyers that no seller and no listing agent wants to see an offer without proof of funds. And proof of funds, unless they're paying cash, is that pre-approval letter. If they are paying cash, great. Let's have a copy of the bank statement in your file so that I can share that with the listing agent when it's time for us to write the contract. We talk about different steps, that financing takes. I'm going to show you a couple of different slides in just a minute that goes into that. We discuss their search criteria. Now, in the past, when we had those meetings face-to-face, that would be the time that we would actually sit down and create their search online. Because of the constraints of the Zoom meetings that we're doing right now, I don't do it right away. I do it after we hang up. We talk a little bit about what is going to happen after we go under contract. We discuss the timelines, the inspections, all of the contingencies, things of that matter. And then, we talk a little bit what to expect when we go to actual closing. So when we talk about financing, again, we talk about choosing a lender, what's the difference between the bank and the broker, how to submit the application, the pre-approval, types of loans, credit, closing costs, down payment, all of those things. And we could spend an hour on each of these subjects, but we go very, very briefly. And most people already know about that because by this meeting, they will already be pre-approved. So if they are, we can skip this altogether. Okay, so when we talk about finding the one house that they are going to buy, we need to understand a lot of things, and this is location, price, square footage, of course, bedrooms and bathrooms, style, features, schools, all of the things that go into a perfect home for them. And it's different for each individual, so that's where it's really important for you as a buyer's agent to take a lot of notes. because you will use those notes eventually in conversations when you are showing the homes. We go a little bit and talk about the different search tools that we're going to employ. Of course, I'm using MLS. I do a new construction search when it's appropriate. I do work with FSBO searches where I talk to FSBOs and preview homes for my buyers because the inventory is so short. The customer can do their own search. They will look at different websites. They will pass by yard signs, open houses, model homes in new construction. All of that is great. And I coach them how to do this properly so that they don't end up not being properly represented by new construction or a FSBO. We talk a little bit about our tools. I always set up a automated search through FMLS so that they will be emailed listings in real time, and I set those notifications for myself as well. And there have been times where the house would go on the market at 11 in the morning, and by 3, we're at that house with a written contract on my phone that my buyer would sign right there and then, because the market is so crazy right now for the buyers. I do open myself up to that if a perfect house meeting all of my clients' criteria shows up. And this is where it's really good to have a team, because if I might not be available, one of my team members might be. If not, I'd have to do some very serious, movements to get there. And of course, a big part of our search is the mobile application. During our appointment, I always share the mobile application, make sure that my clients load it and start using it. The next conversation we have is about making an offer. So my clients, of course, need to know that I will assist them in proper pricing. I will prepare the offer, present and negotiate it on their behalf, and then we will go under contract. During the contract time, this is when we have to maintain and monitor all of the dates and deadlines. It is extremely important not to fall out of contingency and to have a way out if necessary. And I stress it very strongly with my clients that I am going to adhere to those dates. And if things show up that will make us have to have determination, my biggest goal is to protect them in that case and make sure that they walk away with their earnest money, if it's at all possible. Of course, we talk about communicating. We have to communicate with the lender, among ourselves, communicate with other agents. We discuss what the inspection process is, and we discuss what to expect at the final walkthrough. And then, of course, the closing, the big day where everything comes together and all the paperwork is signed. So I talk to my buyers about what they need to bring to closing, how they need to wire them down payment money and closing costs if the closing costs are not negotiated. More times than not, the seller ends up paying the closing costs, so that's a little bit easier for my buyers. Any questions about that? Okay. So now I would like to share with you a couple of handouts that I usually give to my buyers. So we created this buyer packet that, in the past I would print. And right now I just email it to my buyers. But what's important here is it has all of the questions about their property that they want to buy. It really helps us to spell out all of the needs and wants. Again, it goes into the financing, real estate terminology. It's very important to have that, especially for the first-time buyer. We talk about the benefits of home ownership. That a lot of times will be something that we start our conversation with, and how important it is to be a homeowner. We discuss the process, and I really like this house hunting checklist. A lot of times I will bring that with me for showings, and this allows the buyers to take notes. I print several copies of that. That allows the buyers to take notes and to do the check marks and to also rate the house. Rating of the house is super important when you are showing properties. If the first house I show is definitely not the one and we keep going, I will ask my client, I want you to rate it on, from 1 to 5. What would make it a 5? And they may say, well, we really expected the condition to be a little different. Great. Let's see what we can do about that. If we end up buying that house, knowing that they're not super happy with the condition, I may ask for something from the seller in the contract. If the siding needs to be repaired, if the door is creaky, all of this, I will write it in, write the initial contract. Or sometimes if the negotiation is fierce and there's multiple offers, we may choose not to mention that until after the inspection. But we will absolutely make sure that the inspector notates that on the inspection report. Got it? So that's just one of the pieces of paper. And here's another one that I really like. It's the 88 types of turbulence, where we talk about all the things that can go wrong. Knowing what can go wrong really helps the buyers to avoid those things. For example, what if the buyer makes some kind of crazy purchase? Who wants to see that happen before the closing, that their buyer goes and buys a house full of furniture and all of a sudden they no longer qualify for the mortgage? I once had the buyer that quit their job right before the closing. Guess what? That transaction was terminated. Do you want that to happen? Nope. So this is why it's important to review these things, or at least give this to the buyer to read, so they would know what not to do. Any questions?
Take yourself off of mute if you have any questions, guys.
Things that you make sure that you quit the job of making purchases. People tend not to think that that's going to affect their credit or something like that. You counsel them in your checklist or otherwise around. Okay,
I am so sorry, I cannot hear you.
Okay, do you counsel people to not make purchases of a certain type while they're in the process? Is that something you include in your documentation, or you basically include it
Yes.
in your
Yes.
consultation? Like, don't buy a car, don't
Yes.
buy the speedboat you've always wanted, that
Yes.
kind of thing? Yeah.
Yes. When we talk about financing and what the stages they go through financing, and for the sake of time, I'm not going into those conversations right now.
Right.
But yes, we definitely discuss all of these things.
Gotcha.
And it is a part of this document, the 88 types of turbulence.
Gotcha.
What can happen? For example, we had a conversation with a client about not, like waiting for their divorce to be final. What if there is a divorce situation? You need to know.
Right.
And you need to discuss that, because the judge may order certain things to happen or not happen. Now that some a lot of times more affects the sellers than the buyers. But do you know that in a lot of states, and Georgia is one of them, anything the person buys while they're still married can be claimed by their soon-to-be ex-spouse?
Yes.
So we discuss that. We make sure that there isn't a situation where they're going to get hurt financially.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions? Make sure.
Hey, we get that list through an email?
Of the 88 types of turbulence?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I can email everything to Lucy. Lucy, would you be able to send it to everybody?
We'll make her do it, Elena. You just delegated again.
We'll figure it out, guys. Like I said, I'm technical, but I'm not that technical. And plus, I had to switch from PC to a Mac, and there's certain pitfalls with that for me.
Oh yeah.
So I'm still learning how to do all this. Anything else? Okay, I'm stopping my screen share. So any other questions, everybody? Tell me some crazy buyer stories. Let's see if we can troubleshoot that for you.
Hey, Elena, I know also Melba was saying, making sure that you're not using other people's pictures when you're doing this as well. You know, make sure you're taking your own pictures, because they're getting lawsuits now from different.
Well, yeah, that has something to do with listings, actually. When we list properties, we absolutely cannot use other people's pictures. That's what the lawsuits are about. When we work with buyers, we don't really take pictures unless it's a FSBO. And I have actually worked with out-of-town buyers where I had to go and take pictures of a FSBO and send it to them. I just do it with my phone. And sometimes I've done a whole walkthrough with the pictures. What I really don't like is for people to sign contracts sight unseen. That can backfire, and it has backfired at me big time. So I really, really, really do not like virtual sales. We will have all kinds of conversations virtually. You know, I may do an initial showing virtually, but I really want them to see the house live before they sign the contract. Or at least during the inspection. So, you know, like when I work with out-of-town buyers, that's one of the things we talk about a lot, because if they say, well, we want to buy, you know, and we trust you to look at it, I'm like, nope.
Elena, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I am a brand new agent. There's probably a few more people on the call that are in the same or similar situations. Obviously, someone who's been at this as long as you have, when you put about me there, you've got a lot to recommend you. How would you suggest, as a new agent, I approach a buyer, in the sense when I'm talking about me? Do I also include a goodly amount of information about Keller Williams and why Keller Williams is the right agency to or broker?
Yes.
With? Yeah.
Yes, definitely. You know, I've been a brand new agent once, and you know, I didn't have that experience. So yes, as a Keller Williams agent, I was talking about Keller Williams as a company, and I was talking about my office.
Gotcha.
And your office, and Antonio, is your team.
Yep.
We are your team. you can just say, yeah, as a part of Keller Williams family, we all work together for the common good of making you happy, Mr. Client.
Gotcha,
And
thank
yes,
you.
definitely put the information there. And if you don't feel comfortable with that, just skip it altogether. People are hiring you not because of the company and not because of what you have done in the past. They're hiring you because of what you can do for them now.
Gotcha, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Unmute yourself if you have any questions for Elena.
Come on, guys, we have time. I'm here. Shauna, do you have any questions? Oh, I don't think she's on audio.
I'm here.
Hey!
I don't have questions. Elena's amazing.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.
Okay, well, right now, here's a question. The current market with a certain price bracket, how do you set expectations with the possibility, and it's happening, multiple offers and not getting the house?
That's a great question, Shauna. Thank you so much. I was hoping that somebody would actually ask that. So I do bring in, when we meet face to face, I do bring in the latest PowerPoint that we have for the stats, the chart masters. And depending on what the price point, we go into that chart that shows us how much inventory we have. And I explain to my potential buyers what the balanced market is. So the balanced market is when we have, right around 6 months of inventory. It's not the buyer's market, it's not the seller's market, it's a balanced market where everything goes very smoothly. Well, incidentally, right now, that price point is in like 600 to 700. That's the only price point where we have a balanced market. Everywhere below that is the seller's market. So it is super important for the buyers to act very quickly. And this is why we stay very flexible with our schedules when we see the house come up online that may be the one. Now, I will tell you, when I set up a search for you online, it is going to take me hours to polish that search to meet all of your criteria. And some criteria that you're going to tell me about are not even searchable criteria. So it's going to be up to you and me to visually assess that before we go looking at that house. And decide that's one of the ones that we want to see, because our time is very short.
Okay, and so here's another thing that I've come up against.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great information. Now you have someone who's saying, I'm in this price point, it's very competitive, they're gonna put an offer, and then they have all these contingencies, or they ask for the moon and the sun. How do you set those expectations so that they're actually putting their best offer forward and being realistic about removing some of those contingencies that will actually not even get them in the game of having their offer accepted?
Okay, so this is where it's really important to tell the story. And the story goes, Mr. Buyer, I see the light in your eyes. And we usually have that conversation right when we look at the house. I see the light in your eyes, and I see that you really, really like this house. Let me ask you a very tough question. How would you feel if somebody else won it in the multiple bids? And you pause and you wait for their reaction. Now, depending on what their disc profile is, you may appeal to different parts of their brain. If I'm working with the D personality, I'm going to act a little bit different than if I'm working with a high C or high I. With a high C, it's all charts and graphics and statistics. With a high I, we're going to talk about feelings. With a high D, it's going to be all about going for the win. Do you want to win or do you want to lose? The conversations change depending on your buyer's personality. And I cannot stress it enough. You have to know how to assess personality profiles on the fly. Even when you will learn that, that will make all of your conversations very different. Now, it's not 100% foolproof, but it will make it better. So let's just say, you know, Shauna, you are my buyer, and I know you. I already know you. And you come to me with that objection. I'm going to tell you, Shauna, how would you feel if this house went away?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, if I was talking to Tony Corbett, whom I also know, I would say, do you want to win this bid or do you want to lose it?
Mm-hmm.
Totally different tone, different words. The end result is the same. You're thinking. He is thinking. What do I want? Do I want this house bad enough? If you want this house bad enough, let's just get it. We'll figure out the little details and concessions later. Today, our main goal is to get under contract. When we go through inspections, we can negotiate those details during the inspections. Do you see what I just did?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Love that. Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else? No questions. You guys are quiet.
I guess, Elena, they know it all now. They're ready to go.
All right, well, let's go sell some homes then.
No,
All right,
we don't know it all. We're just trying to digest all the good information you just gave.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do you need an assistant? You're so busy. I think you need someone to work under you. Be your assistant, buyer's agent.
Well, so as of beginning of March, I do have a team, and you'll see Tony Corbett. That's my husband. He's a part of my team.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
And Lana is working with us as well. She couldn't be on the Zoom this morning, but she's a great listing agent. And yes, we will be interviewing for executive assistant very soon. So if you want to be in the run, Liz, let us know. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah, it sounds like we need to schedule a recruiting call here on how to do recruiting as we move along through this process.
You know what, guys, I will tell you honestly, I was in corporate for a while and I was really good at hiring people. I haven't quite mastered it yet with with Keller Williams systems, so I'm still learning that part. It's a hard part for me. Anybody else?
Well, I guess not, Elena.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for indulging me and listening to my buyer's presentation. If you have any more questions, just give me a call and we can, or send me an email. I'm easy to find.
Thanks, Elena. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Elena.
Thanks,
Elena.
Bye.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Elena.